Hey everybody, Real with Wes, day one. Welcome to Monday. I'm going to jump right into this, starting a new week. Hope you guys caught Saturday service, Sunday morning service also. I had one message I threw in last Saturday, life-changing, and then this coming Saturday, you don't want to miss. I'm going to start a new series. But we're pressing forward to see the heart of God is what I believe. Reaching forward beyond our own understanding of what we think we know who God is, even further into the details, into the deeper understandings of Him. Not to be spiritually spooky deep or trying to drift from the Word, but a higher level of comprehension, a higher level of maturity, which leads me to what I'm talking about this week. It's called a higher way. There's a higher way to live in life. And I'm going to show you what that means. A lot of people think, well, this holier than thou religious presentation of that, and that is not a higher way at all. That's actually the way down because it's self-righteousness is what it is. But I want to talk a higher way, which is not getting all into the morality of do's and don'ts, because all those things just kind of sort themselves out when you get this essence. And the higher way is how to see humanity the way God sees humanity. So let's get into this. Jesus talking here in Matthew 5:38 says, "You have heard the law says the punishment must match the injury, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." Now realize I am talking about a mindset. That's what Jesus is referring to more than just the example itself. It's a heart condition and a way of thinking. All right, verse 39 says, "But I say, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer the other cheek also." Now, when it talks about evil person, it's someone who's lives in darkness and not in the light of this revelation we're talking about. That is really what it's talking about. Evil may have not been the best translation there because we're bringing it from a thing there. Evil, a lot of times when we twisted. And all of us, we think, well, I ain't evil. You can be twisted, though. You can be twisted in your look of humanity. You can be twisted on the heartbeat of God. All of us can be subject to that. So let's humble ourselves and say, the thing is, you could be the evil person that's twisted in that moment. And we all have been the villain in this story. But with God, truthfully, you're going to see this week too, there's no such thing as villain and heroes. Mankind creates that. It's just people. And God, it's His will that none shall perish. So, verse 39, "But I say, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer the other cheek also. If you are sued in court, your shirt is taken from you, give your coat too. If a soldier demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry it 2 miles. Give to those who ask and don't turn away from those who want." Now, it sounds like a doormat, but realize different culture, different time, different than the 21st century. We're talking about a heartbeat and a mindset that we can all learn from there, and we can all gain from this is what we can do, which is this rising above this carnal, dark, fallen way. Well, how do we do that, first of all? Well, Jesus said, "I'm the light of the world. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father and His character and His will and His representation. And when you've seen the light of me and how I treat humankind and let it shine on the dark spots in your heart and your mind, all of a sudden you come enlightened to how to really treat people instead of just looking this way, looking at other human beings, looking solely at a book exclusively, although that's important and that's a part of it. We're looking at Jesus to rise out of that darkness." Well, what is that darkness? It's our carnality, our flesh way of saying, whatever you do to me, I'm going to do at minimum the same exact thing. You make me feel like garbage, I'm going to rear back and make you feel like garbage. If you talk bad to me, I'm going to check you and talk bad to you just the same way. Now you hear already when we start hitting that, you realize that's a downward spiral. It's just hurt passing back to hurt, passing back to hurt, passing anger, rage, darkness, all these things passing when you say, you know what, you cut me, I cut you. You do good, I'll do good to you. You do bad, you do get bad. And a lot of people think that's just. A lot of people think that's a just way to treat, and that's what we call fair. And God's not in any of that. And that's where Jesus was talking to them. We'll go through this week to show you He's not involved in any of that stuff. Humanity's fairness is forever flawed. We are not in the seat, and I'll talk about this later this week, to exact judgment and to exact it with fairness. We don't need to meddle with those things. We need to look at Jesus and say, you know what? Jesus went through all kind of junk, was spat on, was beaten, was put to the cross, everything else, was constantly persecuted, was trying to be thrown off a cliff, was all these different things, yet he didn't retaliate. He responded in love. He responded in grace. He responded in mercy, because it's like, I have to be the higher truth here. I have to demonstrate something different if I want to see that. With your kids, it's like, imagine your kids walk around, acting foolish, and you act the same way, and you don't show them any different. Well, my kids are always, mad and throwing fits, but what are you doing with them? My spouse is always, smarting off to me, talking about, well, what are you doing in that moment? And I'm not talking about being a doormat. I'm not taking abuse. That's not it. You know the difference when somebody smarts off to you, in love, you can say, please don't do that. I don't appreciate that and not tolerate it, but respond still with kind words. You don't have to be like, there's something, well, you stupid idiot. Well, you're the bigger stupid idiot. Da, 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 da. You see the difference in those responses right there? And the list could go on and on and on. This one small example for a very small amount of time I got with you today, but it's rising above. It's rising above our natural impulse that needs to be renewed, that needs to be conditioned, that needs to respond to the heart conditioning of God, the Holy Spirit in us. It's our fault not responding anymore, training ourselves not to respond anymore to the natural. Man, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you right back. Because the other thing when we hurt people back, it's always worse. It's like, man, you got me, but I got to get in front of you. I got to get ahead of you. And that's the trap the enemy wants to drag us into. He wants to it's never just let me get even with you. It's always even, and then let me get a little more from you. It always happens that way. And then they come back, and then you go back, and then they come back, and it turns into this downward spiral. And many relationships are ruined. Many, many, many times people's lives are ruined. We see it all over the earth, all over the world. And when you catch this heartbeat, you're going to catch yourself in a lot. More than you think in the little day-to-day grinds. I've been catching myself in it. Catching myself in where it's like sometimes I feel I am entitled, or I feel like I can respond to someone in a ungodly way, in a mean or rude, disrespectful way at times when they treat me like garbage. I had people talk to me disrespectful so many times in life. And I'm not trying to make comparisons to somebody else. I'm just using an example. People go through way worse than I've ever seen. And that even makes it less room for me to be that way. But man, people totally talked to me disrespectful, talked about my wife, talked about my son, lied on us, done all these different things. But in that moment, my flesh has to make a decision to say, am I going to drop down to their level, or am I going to go higher? The whole Michelle Obama thing. Whether you agree with the political, I'm not trying to be like that. It's a good statement right here, and it's very clear. It's scriptural. When they go low, we go higher. There is a principle behind that. Why? Because you stay out of the muck of your flesh. That's what it is. Jesus just challenged us to go higher, to stay out of our carnality. And you're going to live a lot happier and freer. And I'm going to show you that the rest of the week. I can keep going here, but that's what day 2, 3, 4, and 5 is all about. You want to get the rest of this? Come back tomorrow. Okay, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. But man, let's just start shifting the mindset. Let's come back tomorrow to get in this a little further, because man, it is going to shape your world. You're going to be a lot more peaceful, a lot more happier. You're going to have better relationships, and you're going to just keep in this higher way of mindset of living instead of getting all in the trenches of strife, anger, fallenness, darkness, all that stuff. Not to judge people, not to condemn people, not to beat people up or say I'm better, because none of us are in any of this way. But it's saying, hey, I'm going to show people the real love of God. And the real love of God says, you may hurt me, but I can respond differently. I can tell you I don't like that. I can express my displeasing over it, but I can also still be in love in that same moment too. I can still protect myself. I can still guard my heart, but I can still be a person of love at the same time and be the bigger person at times. Not the better person, but the more mature person in those moments. Why? Not to be over someone or get a spiritual advantage, but to help show them something different. Because the truth is, they're just lost in the darkness, and that's an opportunity for us to shine Jesus, shine the light, shine love, and bring people to something new. If we'll quit falling in the flesh, and our own carnality, and our own selfishness, humble ourselves, and show people love, even when they don't deserve it. You want to know why? Because we need the undeserved love that we get all the time, every day. All right, guys, I can keep going, but let me catch you tomorrow. Have a great day.